So I wanted to make a quick video talking about the group rides that I've been on recently. So at the beginning of the year, one of the things I wanted to try that I hadn't tried was going on a group ride. And not necessarily anything to do with increasing my fitness, because I can be quite motivated on riding a bike on my own, but more to see what it would be like riding in company and what it would be like seeing routes and different areas that somebody else had planned. So I don't have to go and commute myself and plan out a ride. Someone else has already done it. They've recorded it, they've made sure it's safe, and they've got the maps. All I've got to do is follow. So I've done about 5 rides now, and I'm going to do a few more, but I'll come back to that. So when I think about myself, and also taking into consideration other people's description of me and my personality, words like independent, self-sufficient, comfortable in my own company, stoic, and somewhat introvert come to mind. And I don't disagree with those descriptions necessarily, which is why I don't mind spending time on my own. I love a bike ride on my own. I like walking on my own. I like riding through countryside and quiet areas, and same with walking. But I also like to be around people. And quite often my walks, for example, will be right into the centre of town, into the sort of shopping district, and just getting some mileage in that way. But as well as those things that reflect my personality, I'm also sociable, friendly. I've been described as being emotionally intelligent, or maybe that's just a nice way of saying that's the only intelligence I've got. But anyway, I'm also described as easy to talk to, and from family members often told that I talk too much or my stories are too long. So forgive me, because they probably are, and quite often my family members, or my daughters mainly, and sometimes my nieces, but they're normally a bit more polite. My granddaughters have now feel comfortable enough to just say, get to the point. But anyway, so all of those things, so I've got kind of not a split personality, but there's 2 sides to me. So I like being sociable, and I like being in company on my own terms. And a group ride is perfect for that, because you know that you're going out to meet some people. And so far, every ride I've done is I've met new people that I don't know. So it's not comfort zone stuff. I've still got to kind of gear myself up, or gear up the introvert side of me into, you know, being able to talk openly. And it doesn't take me long to kind of warm up, a bit like a shy child. They seem shy at first, but then you can't stop them talking once they warm up. So yeah, I found it really nice to talk on those social rides, I'm going to call them, because I'm going to talk about 3 different types of ride. And being that I think humans are social creatures, I think that was something I was missing as I live on my own and have done for a few years now. So I've been meeting people, and on the rides, most of the rides I've done so far, I've been at a very relaxed pace, so that you can just ride around, follow the ride leader, have a chat with the other participants on the ride, and then just swap around. Go and talk to the ride leader, talk to the other participants, and it's just natural, just chat about whatever comes to mind. Really, really, really nice. So now some of the other group rides that I'm intending to go on with another group are a bit more, so there's a relaxed ride, as they call it, which is probably faster than the social rides that I've been doing. So different groups are going to call these different things, so I'm just kind of categorizing it to make more sense. So a social ride, very relaxed pace, and I think if you can ride a bike, the ones that I've gone on, there'll be a ride that will suit you. So some of them are quite short, and you don't have to do the whole ride. You know, as long as you know where you are and you've got some sort of GPS to get home. Not everyone finishes the whole ride. They might peel off at a certain point. So I think anyone that can ride a bike can probably cope with one of those social rides. The next one is going to be a relaxed ride, which is a little bit more speed, and they do publish the average miles per hour, which if you ride a bike regularly, you could probably work out if that would be okay for you. And then a bit more of a pacey ride. So when I start riding with the other group that I haven't joined yet, another local group that have been around, they might be the oldest or second oldest continually running riding group in the UK, I've heard. I've got to read a bit more about their history. So if you're in the UK, you might have heard of them, but I'm not going to definitely, don't need to mention it right now. But the point of that is I'm going to go on one or two of their relaxed rides, which I know I can cope with the pace. And then if that's okay and I talk to the riders about my current level of fitness, I'll join one of the pacier rides. So I'm looking forward to different rides for different purposes. And so talking about, the reason I've kind of brought this up is because I do a lot of exercise, and I find that exercise is one of the things that maintains and helps with mental health. And a bit like training any other body part, you know, for yoga for flexibility, taekwondo for strength, agility, flexibility as well, confidence, weight training maybe to kind of change your physique somewhat, as well as bone density, running for cardio if you like running, or fast walking if you can't manage running. So all of those things have different benefits. So I like all of those things, and I like mixing them all up. And I think from everything that I've done so far, the riding groups are the most social. So I think the least social would be yoga, because that's purely instructor led and the class is quiet, or should be. Sometimes you hear people chatting away, but you want it to be quiet because you're there for it to be in a kind of meditative state, and you want to focus on your postures and breathing. But there's not much of a social aspect to it unless you kind of hang back afterwards and start talking to people. And when I was going to a class regularly, I did that. So that was good. And I guess you could kind of meet up after and go for something to eat or a drink or something. And then I teach taekwondo. So taekwondo isn't a social event. While we're in class, it's quite serious because we need to be serious because we're punching and kicking each other at points. So we need to focus on control and all of those aspects. And it's instructor led. So I'm the instructor, so I'm leading the class, but it's much more interactive than a yoga class, because I'm encouraging hands up and questions throughout. I want people to know exactly what they should be doing, when they should be doing it. And if there's any, just general questions, I want them to speak up. But we're not standing around joking and laughing, and we're not chatting about stuff that's not taekwondo related while we're in class. Again, there's always movement, and I've been teaching for such a long time. I have made friends through my classes, and there are people I see outside of taekwondo. And then I've not joined a boxing club, but I imagine it'd be similar to taekwondo. I'm sure there'd be lots of interactions, but you're not going to be just chatting. You're paying your money for some training, and that's what you're going to be doing for that period of time. So if you haven't tried it and you want to get fit and meet people, I think joining a riding club would be one of the best things you could do. And also any of those other things that I've mentioned that I do. Try that as well. So that's it really. It's just a short video to talk about those things. I've got some photos and clips from my last ride. One of my cameras died. Well, I say it died. I went over a bump and it came off of its mount, and a bus ran over it. But I contacted GoPro, so I'm going to say the name because they handled it so well. I contacted GoPro, told them which mount it was, which I bought from them, and then they wanted the serial number of the camera and a few other details. But within 2 or 3 interactive messages, they gave me details of how to send the camera back, and I'm just waiting for delivery of the new camera. So great customer service. I'm not sponsored, obviously. One day by someone maybe, but I'm just going to give honest opinions on stuff for now. I'll always give honest opinions of stuff, but I'm just saying I do mention brands every now and again if I'm using them and they're exceptional, or even if they're not exceptional, I'll mention it. So yeah, please ask questions in the comments, and see you next time. So for now, have a great day.